Alright, welcome to Just Morpheus Gaming. I was looking to do something a little bit different. They had Node Math on the winter sale, and I decided to pick it up. I put in about 5 minutes into this game already, so this is probably... there's going to be a learning curve to go with it. But I wanted to make sure I at least understood the basics before giving it a try. The idea is it's like a factory simulator in a way, but it's using math and numbers. So I should be able to do something like 1, and then just wire this to there, and it's going to start filling that request. If I do another one, it'll double the amount that I'm producing. So there's a baseline that I need to accomplish in order to gain a level. And at a certain point I will try and make this faster. Some of it's going to be... so at this point I'm going to level from 1 to 2, and now I'm at level 2. The one thing I did notice almost right off the bat, they're like, you can copy and paste and add these two strings together. So I can break this and do an add sign now. Duplicate this. Wire 1 plus 1 to be a 2, and now I'm going to be dumping 2's in here. It'll take it a second to figure out how many I'm actually producing, because in this case it looks like I'm producing 0.7 per second and I'm losing 0.6 per second, so I'm barely making any headway. But I can just kind of copy paste and increase my production. There will definitely become a limiting factor on my space available as I progress further. One of the things that I was also, I guess, figuring out as I go, like, how do I even navigate some of this? The B is take a picture, R is, I think, redo, because Control Z is undo. Mirror is F, and V is flip horizontally, which is similar to a couple other games. So the next thing I was looking at doing is, I guess, the bottom ones here. I have like $420 cash, and ultimately I need to generate more and more revenue. So in order, I guess, to do that, level up, so they want a 3. At this point I can just kind of, I think, pull these back, make a whole new line, and then wire it in there, and now we should be 1 plus 1 plus 1 for 3's. And there it goes. And I can also just simply copy the entire block to double my production just like that. So that should, excuse me, be able to push that pretty quickly. Now I have 1,000 in the cash, and I'm ready to level to 4. So for level 4, we need some 5's. And there is a limitation in some ways that I can't wire this here because it crosses the other block. But if I pull this forward, I now can. So there is a little bit of weirdness that I'm still learning about how to place the blocks. But at this point I should now have 2 chunks of 5. Producing well above to just push me my next level. And it'll be interesting to see, I guess, once the game gets more and more complex. So here's where I can actually start to unlock other stuff. So for 1,000 bucks or whatever, I can unlock the multiplier. So now I have a new operator. So in order for me to get to, and this is where it's like I can unlock a new block for 20,000. Some of these I don't really know, because this allowed me to, I can't afford it right now, is why it's not showing me. So we're easily meeting the 5, but we're not meeting the 8 at all. And in order to even meet the 8, excuse me, I was trying to figure out the easiest way to do this. Because if I do Like 2 times 2, or no, times doesn't actually get me much at this point. I need to do addition first. So 3. It's almost wonder I need to do 2s, because if I do 1 plus 1 to get me a 2. And then 2 times 2 to get me a 4. It still is only like halfway to my 8. Let's try and figure out the easiest way to try and slap that together. And for 2,000, I can actually unlock the 2. So that's actually probably what I should have done here. And then I'll just scrap the whole thing, basically. Because 2s are going to make this a lot easier. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Times 2 is going to be an 8. So 2 times 2 times 2 should be getting me an 8 on a clean path. Yes. It's probably a little hard to see the tiny 8 in there, but... So that's getting me my 8s. If I wanted to do something like 2 times 2 for 4, and then I can just add in 1 for the other one. So 2 times 2 plus 1 will give me my 5. Now I'm pretty sure I can just flip those together. I just slide it up, is it gonna work? No. At this point I can just probably copy this whole string and really start to just kind of push these, because I now just need to duplicate both of these. And at this point I have 10,000. It'll cost me 20,000 to do the next block. If I want to do... So special islands have nodes that modify resources passing through them. Example, A plus 1 adds 1 to each resource, and A times 4 multiplies each resource by 4. On a special node, replacements entire row of production nodes, so yeah, it's worth using. There's also bridges that ignore connection collisions. So, I'm kind of curious here. For 75,000, which I'm not near, I can pick up the next block to try and help feed this. And at this point I can level up again. So now I'm going for a 16 and an 8. So I just need my 8 times 2 again, and I can drop my whole 4 block. If I separate these out so they're a little more clear. It's actually just questioning. I'm going to duplicate my 8. Nice, and rotate works as expected. Why does it not like that? Don't necessarily know. What I was hoping to do now is something like Control C, V, because I just want another times 2. So if this 2 and that 2, this should be now drop me a 16. I can just duplicate that whole chunk. I think I can actually triplicate it. I somehow broke that bottom connection. So I'm not actually meeting the base requirement for 8. I'm only producing the 5.9 of the 8s, which is interesting. I was trying to figure out how I can increase this more. I can just triplicate it. There should have been 3. Control C, Control V. So I have room for that. And that'll push me ahead of my 8s, but my 16s aren't making it. And I do have room for one more. But I don't think that's actually going to do it. I need to unlock the better numbers. Because with a 3, I can use less space. Ultimately, I'd almost like to get to a 4, but I can't afford either. 20,000 to get me, or 33,000 to get me the next block. One thing I could do, I'm so close to being able to actually make this, if I just duplicated this whole row. Pretty sure that'll be enough to push the tide in my favor. But in some ways, it's almost a waiting game for resources. And it is like a chillax game. I mean, there's no pressure to really do anything other than, I guess, figure it out and save space, maybe? Because, yeah, my 8s are good, my 16s are starting to barely make it. But time will fix this in 2 different ways, because the more time I wait, the closer I am to my goal of unlocking more stuff. I was trying to figure out, because right now I'm only 4 wide, and if I did something like 3 times 3 times 3 minus 2, I was trying to figure out the easiest way to save space on the 16 without actually having a 4. Here's where I wish some of my basic combinations were a little stronger. This is going to be an interesting game. Just kind of wondering the legitimacy of fast-forwarding 500,000 to unlock 4. I'm a ways from that. The one thing that I can do in pretty short order is just unlock my next chunk of space, which I think is going to be the easiest way into my next level. But the requirements are going to keep going up and up. Because yeah, at this point, I can pick up this chunk of land, and then just those 4, right? Can I do something like that? So that will help accomplish the goal faster. I was even questioning the legitimacy of trying to take down one of my 8s. Without the full other section, I wasn't making the goal, though. So it's just a time thing. I could remove a row, shift these down, and duplicate over, but I have to be careful because I don't think my connections can go through my other blocks. So basically one more chunk and I should make next level. And then I think I'm gonna call it good for this video and see how it transfers over. So yeah. With that, I definitely look forward to doing some node optimizations.